I never thought I'd be the kind of woman who'd destroy her own family, but here I am, sitting alone in a house that echoes with silence, waiting for a custody lawyer to return my call. The dishwasher hums. The clock ticks. And every sound feels like a reminder that I've ruined everything that ever mattered. My husband, ex-husband, I guess, though the papers haven't been finalized, isn't talking to me. My daughter barely looks at me. When she does, it's with this distant hurt in her eyes, like I'm a stranger she used to trust but can't anymore. I cheated. And then I made it worse. People always say affairs are about sex, about lust or selfishness. And yeah, maybe that's part of it. But for me, it started long before anyone touched anything. It started the day I realized Eric hadn't kissed me goodbye in months. When the man I built a life with started treating me more like a coworker than a wife. I told myself I was lonely. I told myself it wasn't a big deal. Just a conversation. Just a connection. Just someone seeing me when Eric didn't anymore. And then it turned into something physical, brief, stupid, reckless. I panicked. I thought I could sweep it under the rug. Pretend it never happened. But secrets have a way of leaking through the cracks. And when Eric found out, he didn't scream. He didn't throw things. He just stared at me like he didn't recognize the woman standing in front of him. Then he packed a bag and left, with our daughter. I could have stopped there. Taken responsibility. Given him space. But I was terrified of losing them both, so I tried something even worse. I used our daughter, Lila, as a reason for him to stay. I told him she needed a full family. I guilted him. I begged. I hinted she might blame him if he left. I weaponized the one thing I swore I never would. And now he's divorcing me, and Lila won't even stay in the same room as me unless there's a third person present. The irony. I thought the affair was the worst thing I'd ever do. Turns out, trying to guilt someone into loving you is even uglier. Because when the guilt fades, all that's left is emptiness, and people you used to love walking away with pieces of you you'll never get back. Eric and I had been together for 11 years. We met young, he was 24, I was 21, and back then, everything felt like a team effort. Late nights building IKEA furniture, splitting rent, dreaming about vacations we could barely afford. We got married fast, bought a little fixer-upper, and then, a year later, came Lila. Becoming parents changed everything, and not just in the cliché ways people warn you about. Eric threw himself into being a provider. He worked longer hours, picked up weekend projects, always chasing stability. Meanwhile, I stayed home with Lila, making sure she had everything. Snacks packed, ballet shoes labeled, birthday presents wrapped on time. I tried to be the perfect mom. But somewhere in that routine, I stopped being a wife. He'd come home late, eat leftovers standing by the sink, then pass out watching sports highlights on the couch. And I'd just scroll. I don't remember when we stopped talking about anything real. But we did. I tried bringing it up once, told him I missed feeling close to him. He rubbed his eyes and said, "I'm just tired, babe. Can we not do this tonight?" So I stopped asking. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I'd let myself go. Maybe I wasn't interesting anymore. But the truth was, I felt invisible. Like I'd become furniture in my own home, useful, but ignored. I started therapy. I told myself it was to be a better mother. But deep down, I hoped maybe I'd figure out what was wrong with me, why I felt so hollow. My therapist was kind, but it wasn't enough. I needed something real. Something human. That's when I met James. He was divorced, a dad from Lila's school. We met at a parent volunteer meeting. He made a dumb joke about glitter glue, and I laughed harder than I had in months. We kept bumping into each other at drop-offs, events. Then we started texting. Nothing flirty, at first. Just venting. Sharing frustrations. Inside jokes. But those messages became the highlight of my day. And eventually, they weren't just friendly. I told myself it was harmless. That I deserved to feel something again. Eric hadn't touched me in months. He didn't even notice when I got my hair cut 6 inches shorter. He forgot our anniversary. He stopped saying, "I love you," before bed. I started thinking maybe our marriage had already ended, we were just too tired to admit it. So when James asked if I wanted to grab a coffee one day, I said yes. And that one coffee turned into something I can never take back. It happened on a rainy Thursday. Lila had a half day at school, and Eric had taken the morning off to fix the leaky sink in the kitchen. I was upstairs, in the bedroom, texting James. I knew I shouldn't have been. I had told myself, after that one night, no more. It was supposed to be a one-time thing. Just a mistake. A wake-up call. I had stood in the shower afterward, shaking, telling myself, that's it. You're done. But I wasn't done. Not really. I didn't delete the messages. I didn't block his number. I told myself I needed closure. That we could still be just friends. That lie became a habit. And that morning, while Eric was under the sink, my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I didn't hear it, I was brushing Lila's hair in the bathroom. She was humming something under her breath, asking if I'd pack her favorite crackers for her afternoon snack. By the time I came back into the bedroom, my phone was unlocked and in Eric's hands. His face was completely blank, but his knuckles were white around the screen. He didn't say anything at first. Just handed me the phone and walked out. I followed him down the stairs, my heart hammering, my mouth already forming excuses. It's not what you think, I said, even though it was exactly what he thought. He stood by the kitchen island, soaked from the pipe he'd been fixing, breathing heavy like he'd just run a mile. Finally, he said, quietly, too quietly, "I don't even know who you are anymore." And that hit harder than yelling ever could have. I panicked. Not because he was angry, but because I saw the shift. The end. The moment everything started slipping away. I saw it in his eyes, the way he looked through me, like I wasn't his wife anymore. Just a woman who'd burned it all down. I said the first thing that came to my lips. The most cowardly, selfish thing I've ever said, "If you leave, Lila will grow up hating you." The words tasted like poison the second I said them. But I didn't take them back. I stood there, clutching my own guilt like it could somehow protect me. Eric just stared at me. His jaw clenched. He didn't argue. He didn't cry. He just turned away, walked upstairs, packed a bag for Lila, and left. I watched them pull out of the driveway that night from the front window, Lila asleep in the back seat, Eric driving with both hands tight on the wheel. He didn't look back. And for the first time, I understood what it means to lose everything, not all at once, but in one irreversible choice that echoes through the people you love. The silence was worse than any fight. I called. Texted. Emailed. I even left a voice message on Eric's work phone, something I hadn't done in years. Nothing. Not a single reply. No, we need to talk, no, give me time. Just silence. As if I'd been erased from their world. 3 days later, I showed up at Lila's school during dismissal. I knew it was desperate. I didn't care. She was walking out holding a teacher's hand, her backpack swinging, hair in that loose braid Eric always did on his mornings. I called her name, and she froze. She didn't run to me. She didn't smile. She walked up slowly, eyes uncertain, like I might snap in half if she spoke too loudly. "Hi, sweetie," I whispered, crouching down. She looked past me. Is Daddy coming? I blinked, forcing a smile. I just wanted to see you. I miss you. Her eyebrows knitted. Why did you hurt Daddy? The words hit like a punch in the chest. I swallowed, glanced at the teacher who'd backed away politely, then back to my daughter. Honey, your dad and I were going through a lot. He was working all the time. He stopped noticing me. I was sad. I was lonely. Don't you want Mommy to be happy, too? She frowned. Her voice was quiet but sharp. So you cheated. Because you were sad. I felt like the ground had cracked beneath me. She was 10, and already smarter than I gave her credit for. Lila, I said, reaching out, it's not that simple, but she pulled back. I want to go. And just like that, a teacher came to walk her back inside until Eric arrived. She didn't look at me again. That night, I sat on the couch staring at old pictures on my phone, birthday parties, beach days, even a dumb selfie Eric had taken where we both looked exhausted but happy, and I started spiraling. I found Eric's Facebook account. It was still public. He'd posted photos, new ones. Him and Lila in the woods, grinning by a small fire. A selfie of them on a roller coaster. Her in a new dress, holding a Daddy-Daughter Day sign at school. They looked happy. Light. Unburdened. Without me. That's when it hit me, the guilt card didn't just fail, it backfired. I didn't bring them closer. I pushed them further away. I had hoped that Lila's love would anchor Eric long enough for me to fix everything. Instead, I'd turned my daughter against me, and proved to both of them that sometimes, the person who breaks the home is the one who used to protect it. I thought I could fix things before it reached court. I told myself Eric was just angry. That once the dust settled, we'd agree on shared custody. After all, I was Lila's mother. I'd been there every day of her life, packed her lunches, kissed every scraped knee, stayed up through fevers and nightmares. Surely, he couldn't take her from me completely. But when I walked into that courtroom and saw him sitting calmly with his lawyer, I felt the floor tilt. Eric was filing for full custody. When my lawyer leaned in and said, he's arguing it's in Lila's best interest to live with him full-time, I laughed. Actually laughed. Out loud. Like it was absurd. I'm her mother, I snapped. She's 10. She needs me. My voice cracked, but I stood tall. I told the judge I made a mistake, but that I was still a good mom. I admitted to the affair, said it was over, that I'd been going to therapy. I cried. I begged. I said all the things I thought they needed to hear. Then came the part one hadn't expected. The judge said Lila had been working with a child psychologist. And that the court had a written statement from her. My stomach dropped. The judge read it aloud. I love my mom. But I don't want to live with her right now. She scares me. She made everything worse. She tried to make me feel bad about Daddy leaving. And when I cried, she got mad. I want to live with Dad because I feel safe there. I couldn't breathe. My baby. My little girl. She was afraid of me. The room blurred. My ears rang. The only thing I could hear clearly was the sound of my own heart breaking into pieces I'd never be able to put back together. It wasn't about custody anymore. It wasn't even about Eric. It was about trust. And I had shattered it. I used to think Eric had abandoned me emotionally, that he checked out of our marriage, left me starving for affection. But sitting in that courtroom, hearing Lila's words, I saw the truth for the first time. I was the one who shut down. I blamed him for not filling the void inside me. I chased validation from another man. And then, when everything collapsed, I dragged my daughter into the wreckage, trying to use her love as leverage. I didn't lose her in that courtroom. I lost her the moment I made her pain about me. It's been 9 months. I go to therapy every Tuesday and Friday. Not to fix my marriage, there's nothing left to fix there, but to understand how I became someone who used love like a bargaining chip. Someone who thought guilt could heal what I broke. I haven't dated. I deleted every app, every old message thread, every memory of James. I don't even let my mind wander there anymore. That version of me, grasping, defensive, hollow, is someone I'm still learning to face. I work part-time at a local bookstore now. It's not glamorous, but it's grounding. I shelve novels, help kids find their favorite series, and when I'm alone on break, I journal. Every day. Some entries are angry. Some are just lists of things I miss: Lila's laugh, Eric's sleepy smile, our Sunday pancakes. I see Lila twice a month. Supervised. The first few visits were stiff, awkward. She clung to the caseworker's side and barely said a word to me. I tried too hard at first, brought crafts, games, snacks, all her favorite things. She just looked at them like they were foreign objects. Like I didn't know her anymore. Because I didn't. But lately, she's been drawing again. Once, she handed me a picture of our old living room and said, "I remember this day." I cried the whole night after. There's still a long way to go. I don't expect forgiveness overnight, or maybe ever. But I've stopped trying to earn it with tears. Or excuses. Or manipulation disguised as love. I thought guilt could fix what I broke. But guilt doesn't rebuild trust. It just spreads the cracks further. I used to blame Eric for being distant. For missing the signs that I was slipping. But now, I get it. He walked away not out of pride or punishment, but protection. For himself. And for our daughter. He loved us. Deeply. Enough to leave when staying meant tolerating a version of me that even I couldn't recognize. I see that now. I don't know what my future holds. Whether Lila will ever want me back in her life beyond scheduled visits. Whether I'll ever love, or be loved, that deeply again. But I do know this: I won't ever try to manipulate love again. Because the second you turn it into a weapon, it turns on you. Have you ever tried to make someone stay by making them feel guilty? Did it work, or did it destroy everything?